Okay folks, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate each and every one of you for watching. And still working on the float pods. And what I went on ahead and did is I went ahead and made the outboard panel for the float pods. I made the outboard panels for each side. And what I'm doing here, and what you see going on here with this piece of aluminum, is it makes for a nice little straight edge. And I've got this piece right here even with this surface right here, and I took a straight edge, laid that down on there, and took my ruler and measured both the front and the back to make sure that this straight edge was level and flush with this surface right here. And that's necessary because the top, or I guess I should say the bottom edge of this panel right here, it needs to be straight and aligned with this surface right here. In other words, all this right here needs to be one straight line. Now remember, I said there's going to be a little bit of an offset right here. That's not a problem. It just drops down about a ½ inch right here, and again, that will not be a problem because this right now is aligned. It forms a perfectly straight line with this surface right here, and that would be this edge right here. I've got clamps in the way right there, so it's kind of hard to show you, but that edge makes a perfectly straight line, and it's in alignment with this surface right here. And so the other thing I've got to do is I've got to make sure also that this face right here, at this surface right here, is even with the side of the boat. And again, the straight edge right here takes care of that, because I've got this nice and flat against the side of the boat right here, and as you can see, and this piece is nice and flat against the other side of that straight edge. So I've got that positioned where I want it. All I have to do now is drill me some holes. I'm going to do the same thing I did when I installed these pieces right here. I'm going to go ahead and drill some holes, probably just a couple of them here, and I'm going to put stainless steel screws in that just to keep everything lined up when I get ready to bond that in place. Alright folks, I will get back to you here shortly. Okay folks, I'm back, and I've got this outboard piece bonded on. Really not much to it. Maybe a tablespoonful of resin, half a tablespoon of hardener, and the cab seal, and just stuck it on there. And like I said earlier, I've got this straight edge right here to make sure that this surface right here is flush and even with this surface, and also that this edge up here where I'm running my finger is parallel to this surface, to the bottom surface of the boat. And that's what I've got that piece of aluminum on there for. I'll just leave that stuck on there until the epoxy dries. I'll come check on this in the morning. Alright folks, got to do the other side now. I'll probably get to that sometime tomorrow, maybe the day after. We'll catch you later. We'll catch you in the next segment. Okay folks, we are moving right along, and as you can see, I've been doing a lot of cutting and fitting and drilling, and got pieces here ready to go on. They're just kind of laid up there on top of the boat, but all I have to do is countersink these holes that I drilled in this piece right here, and get it ready to bond in place. Same over here. I've got this piece right here ready to bond. I've got another little piece that's going to go in right here. I've got to trim it a little bit to match this angle right here, and same thing over here. So basically it's just down to putting all the pieces together, and I'm going to be working on that today. So I will be back with you here shortly when I get all that done. That will be kind of time consuming, so I'm not going to record that. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you that when it's done. Alright folks, I will be back here in a moment. And this is what I was talking about right here folks. I've got pieces everywhere. I've got little pieces here to reinforce this corner. All that's going to have to be wet down. It's just hard to handle the camera and wet all that stuff down at the same time. So like I said, here in that last segment, I'm just going to show you all this once it's all put together. It's just easier on me and makes for a, let's just say, a less time consuming video from the viewer's perspective. So I'll show you that when it's done. And oh boy, yeah, it's like putting a jigsaw puzzle together here. Alright, I'll be back. Okay folks, and just like that, let me get that little one by out of the way. Just like that, we're done. Got these pieces bonded in, and all I have to do now is make the piece that's going to go here, make the piece that's going to go here. I already have what would be the top, though it's upside down. I have the pieces that will bond in place right here. Let me catch up to my hand there, or get my hand to catch up to the camera, one of the two. But like I said, I have the pieces that will bond in place right here, would be the tops, and that's those pieces right there. You see that little cut right there? It's going to match up to this angle right here, and so it's just a matter now of letting this set up. Probably we'll let that set up overnight, and then we'll get out here and start measuring for these pieces here. Actually, you know what, let me back up. I'll probably need to bond these pieces in first, then I'll have something to take measurements off of once those are in, and I'm confident that they're nice and straight. And as you can see right here, I did have to put one clamp on this to hold it. This corner right here wanted to spring up just ever so slightly, so I just put the clamp on it, and all I did here was just put a little bead of epoxy up underneath there, as opposed to this, where I actually made a little piece to go in this corner right here, a little filler. Did that on both sides. Now the reason for this is because once this is all said and done, I'm going to round this corner over, and once I start sanding and rounding this corner over right here, it could get a little bit thin, so it's just good to have that little piece right there. Let me find, okay, there we go. It's good to have that little piece right there, just to kind of back it up, just to reinforce it. So that's what that's all about. That's it. Like I said, just got to let the epoxy set up. Okay folks, I'm back. I'm still waiting for that epoxy to fire off. It's sticky, but it'll probably be 4 or 5 more hours before I can get out here and really do anything with this. And by that time it'll be too late. But I did make an interesting little discovery. My plywood, of course, it's been sitting out in this garage now for well over a year, many months, and in that time, when it gets humid, it absorbs moisture. When it gets dry, it dries out, and the plywood's changing shapes a little bit. This is actually come out of a flat piece, 4x8 sheet, of course. But as you can see, or maybe you can't see it, I don't know, but I've got a little curve right there. And a couple of things I'm going to have to do to straighten that out. Again, I've got to wait until this epoxy sets up, as I'm going to first of all have to get some more of these little cypress strips cut and fasten another little block to the bottom to pull that curve out. And then the second thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to run some gussets in here. I'll probably have to put a gusset, one right about here. Let me get that camera back. I'll probably have to put one right about here and another one right about here. And the way I'll do that is I'll just come up with a way to pull the plywood up, and then go ahead and bond the gusset in place, and then just let it dry, and with it with the clamp on it like that. Okay folks, I'm back. My battery went dead. My apologies. I haven't plugged this thing in quite some time. But anyway, what I was saying was I'm going to use this clamp right here to pull this piece of plywood up and make it even, make this gap even all the way fore to aft. And right now it's not even. This gap is actually a little bit wider at the back here than at the front, and that's just because this little piece of plywood right here, it's what I've been talking about, you know, how it's kind of curved a little bit on me, and this piece right here is kind of curved on this corner. So what I'm going to do is just set these 2 jugs full of that's windshield washer fluid. Okay, yeah, that's windshield washer fluid. I'll set those on that level, and I've already experimented with this. I'll be able to pull this up with this clamp right here without catapulting those into the door right there. So you know, they're heavy enough. They'll keep that end down while I pull this up, because it's not under just a whole lot of tension, but I will need to, like I said, use this clamp right here to pull this piece up, get that gap even, and then once I do that, I will put one of those gussets in here that I was talking about. Let me get squared up with the back end. Okay, there we go. I'll put one of those gussets in right here that I was talking about, and I'll probably have to put a couple in each side just to address you know, the curve in that plywood, and that's no big deal. We'll get it out, and I will also put a little piece of cypress right along this edge right here, little block. And what I will probably do also is take and cut a little plywood strip, because plywood on the edge like that, it's very, very strong. You're not going to bend it very easy. And if I take a little strip of this plywood right here and just bond it to that cypress, that's going to be plenty stiff. I'll be able to draw this piece up, make it nice and straight, and then, like I said, I'll get my gussets in there. I will have to do that to both sides. So, you know, it's a little bit of extra work, but it'll be worth it. I want those to look good. You know, I don't want those to start warping and bowing and getting, you know, just curves and stuff in them. And of course, you know, when that happens, you know, when this plywood starts to bow and it starts to warp, well, then, you know, you run the risk of getting cracks in it. And we're going to stiffen this up really good. We're going to make sure that we have enough structure on the inside to make this nice and stiff here. And like I said, I will fill that with flotation foam also once we get the boat flipped back over. Next thing I'll be doing after I get these put together and get as far as I can with these, I've got to start with the fiberglass. I have set a goal by tax day. I want the fiberglass on this boat. That's April 15th, so that's just a little less than a month out. It's the 19th of March right now, so yeah, I've got a lot of lost time to make up for. I was out sick for a long time, and of course the cold weather, that unusually cold weather we had here in Fort Worth, kind of just shut me down for a long time. Like I said, between the weather and being sick. So the next thing that I need to get done, once I get those float pods made and get those like I want them, got to get this outer hull fiberglassed. All right, folks, I will catch you later. And just like that, I'm back. And if you recall, in that previous segment, I talked about that bow that I had in this piece of plywood, and I actually had a little bit of a bow in this one also, and that's just from the plywood sitting out here in the garage and absorbing moisture when it gets humid and drying out when it's hot and dry. But we got that bow corrected, and the way I did that was I took a little piece of 3/8 Meranti and I bonded it to a piece of cypress. And the reason I did that was because first of all, like I mentioned, plywood is very stiff edgewise. You're not going to put a bend in that plywood, so that piece of plywood right there, that took out that bow, and it did not give a thousandth of an inch. But the reason I bonded the cypress to this piece is because I need something to drive the screws into. The screws do not drive into the edge of plywood very well, not if you want them to hold. And I did go ahead and screw that in, and I've already got those heads ferried out with the epoxy, as you can see right there. But I've just bonded the cypress to that piece of plywood just so I would have something to drive the screws into, and that's why the cypress is there. So it solved the problem. The bow is gone, and once this all sets up right here, I'll be ready to put these other pieces in. So I tell you what, that's, oh boy, that's got a nice little bow to it too. I'm going to have to work that out because I don't have a lot of this 1/4 inch left. I mean, I have one full sheet of 1/4 inch over there, but I got to save that for the flooring. And actually, I built all of this out of little leftover pieces that I had of the 1/4 inch. So I'm going to have to make that work, but I'm confident I can pull that curve out of that piece of plywood once I get it bonded into place up here. This is actually the top, remember, we're upside down, and I've got another piece cut for this side also. So once I get those bonded in, like I said, we'll pull the bows and the curves out, and you know, if we have to use gussets or if I have to make some more stiffeners like this, then that's what we'll do. But we'll get it taken care of. It just takes time, and that's like they say, quality takes time. All right, folks, I do want to thank you for watching this video, and just want to give a shout out to all the subscribers. And I noticed I have a lot of new subscribers. Welcome aboard, and we'll try to keep the videos coming now that the weather is getting warm, and since I've got about 99% of my health back now. So I thank you for subscribing, thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video. God bless and take care.